Hello, everybody, and welcome to my. Welcome back. Hello, if you're new. My name is Jules. My pronouns are he, him. I am a professional commercial food photographer and stylist, and soon to be published cookbook author. And thank you all for joining me today as we grab whatever system we are planning in, or maybe you just want to sit and spend some time journaling or whatever, and we just sit here and we plan our week and we learn from each other and we talk about our week and just chill and hang out. I do need to apologize for my absence last week. Well, the week before was Christmas, and as you know, there was no plan with me on Christmas. And then I had planned to come back last week. However, I spent New Year's in the emergency department with a kidney blockage that still hasn't resolved itself. They were worried that they might have to do surgery on my kidney this week, which they didn't have to do, thankfully. They still might. The blockage still hasn't cleared itself. However, it has. It's not as painful as it was. The pain is manageable, and with the current situation, with hospitals being overwhelmed, and basically if you leave your house you're going to be exposed, and the fact that I'm triple vaxxed, but I have a compromised immune system, so I do not want to take a chance. So I'm doing my best to manage this kidney issue, as well as I'm now in full on production for my cookbook. I'm in the last stages of recipe development. I have to finish my first round of edits by Friday. I start principal photography for the cookbook at the end of this month. On Thursday, oh, thank you, Dead Melodies. If there's something you would prefer that I call you, and welcome, thank you for tuning in. I hope I get better soon as well. But I deal with chronic health issues, so it's one of those things where it's like, of course this happened. Of course it happened the week that I have a art exhibit that's currently running. That is called Nourish, a celebration. And it is basically a celebration to food production. Hold on, I have to get rid of this bot. Food production, it's not letting me here. Food producers, farmers, restaurants, etc., who have had to overcome impossible circumstances during the last 2 years of everything that's going on, both with the pandemic and we've had a lot of natural disasters here in BC, a lot, and we're going through another one right now, and the fifth wave and more horrible weather has caused an installation delay for my art exhibit in the same week. So things got delayed. I was hoping to do my December flip throughs for both my my work, my functional planner, my daily my everyday carry, as well as for my the December daily challenge that I did. However, the circumstances of this past week I couldn't get that filmed last week, so I'm hoping that I can find some time this week to do my December flip through. So I want to know, how was all yours week? What are you planning in today? What is your 22 lineup? What are you planning to work on as we sit here for the next hour and a half or so and chat? I'm working in my Jibun, both the primary one, the personal, and I'm gonna try and do a little bit of pre-planning in my days, and then I have to get back into my um, Hobonichi cousins for project planning because let me show you my January. Um, Next week, these are all the recipes. Let me see if I can bring this up. If it's gonna focus. Yeah, that's all the recipes I have to develop next week. I have my editing. My preliminary edits are due, and then I have shoots on the weekend. I'm shooting today, and then starting the last week of January, I begin principal photography. So I have to figure out what I'm shooting so that I can shop and cook and prepare accordingly. So that's what I'm doing today. If you all can let me know what you're planning, that would be great. It doesn't have to be anything mine. Here's the thing that is really, I don't know if we want to say funny. It's like that whole irony funny thing that they just announced in the news. So I'm in British Columbia. I live on Vancouver Island. Where I live on Vancouver Island, we normally don't get snow. And it's done nothing but snow basically for the last 2 weeks, and we haven't been able to get mail delivery, any type of delivery that I'm ordering that I need for production of my cookbook is like, well, we may be able to get it there in 3 weeks, but we can't make any promises. I mean, still after the floods and the highway, that basically, Dead Melodies is just basically planning their week and a project. Cool, what project? Let me know. What project? So anyways, there was like road washouts, the island, it's been a mess here in BC. And it was just announced that like every single week trying to shop for the things that I'm currently working on in my in the cookbook, for the cookbook and for work, we've been having stocking issues. And so it's just one of those things where right now I'm planning for the best of the abilities, but there's so many things going on right now that is best laid plans. You need to be able to pivot. So the project is to redo the website resume so you can look for a new job, but I do better with a checklist. Yes, I love checklists. I absolutely adore them. I mean, that's what the daily is for. I plan, so I do, in the weekly spread, it's basically blocking out time, and it allows me to track how much time I'm basically spending either on administrative things, or on writing, or on recipe development, or whatever, right? It just allows me to basically, okay, I'm going to dedicate this time in the morning to this, and that's how I use my weeklies. And then going into the daily, it is just a bunch of to-do lists, and then again, my running the blocks, but I would not, and then there's like notes for recipe development for this week, and that was crisis management. So all of my canvases for my art exhibit were supposed to show up on the 4th, which was a Tuesday, and I was supposed to put the hardware on the back to drop it off at the art gallery on Wednesday. Well, they didn't show up, or they were supposed to actually show up on the Monday, on the 3rd. They didn't show up on Tuesday. I had to phone the printer and be like, where's my canvases? I don't even have tracking numbers. Please let me know what's happened with them. There was some glitch. They finally found the tracking numbers, and UPS has lost my canvases of my art. I'm selling postcards at the art exhibit. And so on Wednesday, it was having to do Tuesday was a bunch of scrambling to get print or posters designed that the art gallery could print off of my artwork and a few other things, so that while they locate the canvases of my work, at least something to show at my gallery space. So, this past week was, everything that I had written out that I wanted to get done I was lucky to get anything done this past week, let me tell you. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. It's one of those things where, I mean, as I had to say to some of the sponsors for the exhibit, I mean, it's funny, and you have to cue Alanis Morissette, that an exhibit that is dedicated to overcoming the impossible circumstances of the pandemic and multiple natural disasters here in British Columbia, the installation of my exhibit has been delayed because of the pandemic and more natural disasters. So I keep grabbing the wrong color. I'm trying to find 992, and I'm worried that one, oh, it's right here. No, that's 990. So yeah, it's just the irony of an exhibit that is dedicated to overcoming the impossible circumstances of the last 2 years has been um, has been delayed, or I mean, there's still something there for people to see, but the actual piece, the big canvases with the art on them, has been they're somewhere. They're somewhere in Canada where they're not exactly sure, but yeah. So that has been my past week. Yeah, isn't it ironic? Exactly. It is extremely ironic. I mean, and you have to laugh. I mean, that's just the thing that is happening. I mean, the reality of it is, if you don't laugh, I mean, you can cry while you're laughing too. There have been tears, obvious, like, for obvious reasons. I'm autistic, and I do not do well with unannounced change. If I have warning that change is coming, and I have like time to transition between one activity to another, then I'm cool. Well, but un, un unexpected surprises, I'm not so great at. I can get very overwhelmed when they happen, and I'm having to give myself a lot of extra way to go that I was able to get through this past week without without too much um what's the word I'm looking for? Without too many panic and anxiety attacks, and reminding myself, like, everyone, we've all been living through this for the past few years. Everybody is understanding that nothing is going to happen according to a timeline, especially with this current wave. That, I mean, things are going to happen, and we just have to figure out how to move forward. I'm all of a sudden forgetting how to spell. So if you have not watched my last videos about how I plan my week, basically, this very top section of the Jibun Techo, I rate my, if everything is all well and my chronic health conditions cooperate and I have the energy to do it, this is the priority for my week, is at the very top part, and I color code it as well as writing it down. And then underneath, it's like, what is my main focus of the day? If I'm shooting, what am I shooting? If I'm writing, do I have a word goal? If I'm developing a recipe, what am I developing? I mean, if you can see from last week I was developing a recipe for homemade matzo and matzo meal, because sourcing it. So my cookbook is all about cooking while disabled, how to prepare culturally appropriate foods when disabled that usually take a long time to prepare, and also it's really difficult to source the things because of living in food deserts. Except for so one of the things that I'm developing for the cookbook is matzah, because especially in Canada, unless you live in a city center, and it's basically like three city centers, unless you live in like three specific places in Canada, and if you are Jewish and you are practicing Passover, um, trying to find matzah meal or matzah is absolutely impossible, unless you're willing to pay a lot of money, like $25 for what works out to like 2 cups of matzo meal. It's a ridiculous price when basically all matzo and matzo meal is a unleavened cracker, and that's like put through a food processor. That is flour, water, olive oil, and salt. I mean, it costs like maybe $1 to make, and but because of like just predation, capitalism, whatever in the marketplace, to buy it on Amazon because you can't get it in the stores. You just cannot go to a store and pick up matzo meal unless you live in like 3 cities in Canada. So I'm developing it for the air fryer. It's still labor intensive, but I've made it less so. And it takes a long time to do that because I have to test it in multiple appliances. So yeah, this was like admin days, and it's all color coded again. And then I do time blocking, and then like how I work is I because I am a spoonie, and if you don't know what a spoonie is, it's somebody with um, brain fog and chronic fatigue for a variety of reasons. That was originally for people who have lupus, and to help them explain to people energy, because a lot of people have cups of energy that they can spend through a day. Well, those of us with chronic fatigue, we have spoons full of energy, and it like for a lot of people, they may use like a little fraction of their cup to cook, and for those of us who have chronic fatigue, like medical conditions that result in chronic fatigue, we may spend 3 days worth of energy preparing one meal because we only have spoons. And so we may have like what equals a quarter cup of energy to spend for a whole entire week compared to cups. And so the way that I plan my day is like I have the very top is like, what do I want to accomplish? If wishes were dreams, this is how my week will look. These are what my priorities are. And then I assess how many spoons I have throughout the day. I write it down just so I can keep track of it, because my goal is to always have one spoon by the time that my work day is over. And then based on how many spoons I have, I have activities that I can do based on that score, and that's how I plan my day. I have that luxury. It's a huge privilege because I am self-employed. Not everyone has that. So that's how I plan. So I'm just right now, I'm only going to worry about my first half of my week and figure out what my priorities are. Because if things go according, I mean, we're expecting more snow tonight, so it could delay things even more, but there is a possibility that my missing canvases turn up on Tuesday, which means I have to put the hardware on the back of them so that I can drop them off at the gallery on Wednesday for so that they're hung for Thursday. So today I'm just going to plan my priorities, and I have a couple of appointments that are happening already. So, I mean, Monday I know already is going to be an admin day. How do you all plan? Do you time block? Lists. I mean, Dead Melodies already said that they are checklists. I mean, I live and die by lists. I love lists. Do you have? Oh, so this. I'm going all over the place. It's like it's a thing of autism. I mean, I'm loving using my Hobonichi as a project planner, and treating each of the week columns as a bucket, like would be on Trello. And then so it's like the Trello buckets, and then when you flip back here, it's the longer lists of things that need to be done. This is my edit list right now that I'm working on this next week. But then it's all numbered. So that's how another thing that I do. Like I pre-plan and then I plan, and it's a mix of like time blocking lists, breaking down tasks into like the most minute detail, especially when you're doing photography. If you want to shoot something in a time, like have your photography day go smoothly, you have to make lists that include every single piece of equipment that you're going to need, all of the props that you're going to need. I mean, I sketch out, let's see if I can find an example on hand quickly. I sketch out my shots so that when it comes, I mean, they don't always. So this is the sketch, and I'll show you the finished product so you can see how that process works. Oh, come on. Okay. Sketch versus the finished product. So it allows me to kind of pre-plan so that when it comes time to shooting, it saves so much time so that I'm not figuring out the shot, I'm not figuring out the lighting, I'm not figuring all that stuff out. And I have equipment lists that I do. So that's how I plan. Some people plan differently. That's how my functional planning works. I live and die by my lists, and if it's not on my list, then it takes that much longer to get things done, which also for people who have issues with energy, fatigue, executive function, having those lists pre-planning saves so much time, so when it comes time to do the task, you know exactly what you're doing and you're not wasting like 30 minutes, 45 minutes trying to figure out what you're doing and hunting for, well, what do I need to do this task, right? You've already sat down and you walk through every single step and worked out what exactly you need to be able to accomplish it, and then when it comes time to do it, it's just get her done. Admin days 79. Had it. There we go. So, where is how's okay, so let's see. Dead Melody says that they time block by days. They're currently full time somewhere, so their evening time is limited. And they try to take each day evening as a bucket. Monday is admin, Tuesday is creative development, etc. I miss freelancing when I can time block based on energy focus levels, you know? Yes, I mean, that's the whole, it's a real huge, and until you have to give up working for yourself, I mean, there's a lot of downsides to being a freelancer and self-employed because you do have to do that hustle. You do have to make your own work and find your clients and do that stuff. But like my time blocks, like my first two hours every single morning from 8 to 10, or from 8 to 10 is continuing ed and prep. So it's that thing that like creative development, that's where I watch, like, do my education, futz around. I mean, it's working time, but it's leisure. I get to start my day very casually, and then I have breakfast because it takes a couple hours for my stomach to work up, and then I start actually work after that. After I've had breakfast, depending on how I feel, then I decide what exactly it is that I'm going to accomplish that day. I take a break 4 hours later, and then I reassess and figure out, okay, what else is my body saying that I'm able to accomplish. So yeah, being the fact that I am self-employed, that I do have my own business, that I get to pick and choose when I take on clients, that is a huge, huge privilege. And just because of the extent to my disabilities, I would never be able to go to, I mean, it would have to be a very, very understanding employ employer who would like give me wide accommodations. I would have to work from home. I would have to have hours that are not the typical workday. Um, and I think over the last 2 years, at least in Canada, I don't know how it is elsewhere. Let me know what your experiences have been. But at least here, people have been realizing that when people are given the freedom to work at a pay, like instead of doing like, oh, you have to be at your desk for 8 hours a day plus how many, some people it's 9 because they get an hour lunch. Instead of doing that, they're now focused more on what is produced versus just making people do busy work for the sake of doing busy work. Um, so more employees are at least here in BC, especially when we have safety protocols in place. Like right now, we have public, like we have to put up on our business websites our COVID safety plans to make sure everybody's safe. Workplace or work safe BC is like if people can work from home, then move to move to like yeah remote work because that's the safest. And so in that way, I mean, every time people say, "Oh, I can't wait to return to normal," I'm like, "Oh, as a disabled person, I hope we never go back to how things were pre-pandemic, and the lessons that we learned about like you don't need to. There's no point in working, say like 9 to 5 or whatever your workday is. I mean, that doesn't matter. What matters is are people meeting their deadlines? Is the work being assigned to them getting it done? What does it matter if they decide that they're going to do it at midnight because their sleep schedule or their natural circadian rhythms are such where they're night owls as opposed to morning people? So yeah, that's the thing that I'm kind of happy about with everything that's going on. And I know some people or some employers, some workplaces are very much like wanting to get back to how things used to be. And every time they do that, I just cringe because when people are allowed to work in ways that respects what their bodies are telling them, um, we're all much more productive and better. It's not only our physical health, but our mental health. Yeah, Deb Melody says that, gosh, yes, what is normal? Also, normal sucked. Absolutely. Absolutely. It was horrible. It was absolutely, um, I hated it. I hated it. I love now that I don't even have to, like before the pandemic, we would have, because I do have medical conditions that compromise my immune system. Um, I would have to justify having extra safety measures on workplaces to make sure that I would not get sick, because there was never anything such thing as a common cold for me, and it was never just the flu. Uh, like every single winter until people started masking widely, I would be in the hospital every single winter with some respiratory thing. Um, yeah, and Dead Melodies totally agrees that allowing people to do jobs on their own time. Exactly. I mean, it's just better for everybody. Um, so during the last 2 years, where everybody's having to take these extra safety precautions, I've been the healthiest I have been. I haven't had a single respiratory infection. I mean, I've had my regular kidney issues and a few other things, but I've not had to go to the emergency room because I cannot breathe. And because I need like my airway opened and having respiratory therapy. So the thing that I like now is that I don't have to explain to people anymore that I'm immune compromised and people on my staff are immune compromised and you need to stay away from me and no, I'm not going to shake your hand and we need to be disinfecting and all that other stuff. So I mean, these are things that I don't want to change. I want masks to be a permanent part of our society. I want yeah, I want masks to be permanent. I want people to always be aware that someone may not be feeling well, and we shouldn't have to justify staying away from each other. I don't want handshakes to come back. I mean, the handshaking squeaked me up beforehand as an autistic person is just one of the things I did not enjoy doing. Like, don't touch me unless you know me. is one of my autistic traits. If I know you, if I'm comfortable with you, then I'm a hugger. But until I know you and I'm comfortable with you, just do not enter my personal bubble. Um, and there's just certain things that I really do not want to come back. I miss being able to see my friends, and some of that stuff. But yeah, I I'll be very happy if we take away some lessons that need to be. I mean, we need to understand that the way things were. I'm old. I'm an old. So the way things were reminds me of the movie Babe, and I don't know how many people have seen have seen Babe, but yeah. So I don't. But it's it was the mouse. The mice. They said the way things are, but yeah, the way things were in the mice voice from Babe. I don't. Let's not do that. Let's continue to make sure that people are people are able to have um, allowances for being human and having sucky things happen to them that are beyond their control, and everyone just being, yeah, I understand it. Things are crap. Do what you have to do. Um, oh yeah, cool. Dead Melodies. Babe is one of my favorite movies. That's the thing I have to do on Monday. I have I'm gonna put this here. Art assembly. There's a fellowship, not a fellowship. Um, what's it called? Um, basically, there's a grant application for art for people with disabilities. That I need to apply for this week. I'm looking right now. I'm just looking at January to see what my overall monthly schedule is, so I can plan this week accordingly. What did Melody just say? Yeah, the mice are the best part, absolutely. And the night that the farmer, I can't think of his name right now, but dances for Babe when Babe is under the weather and not feeling well. That is one of my favorite parts. Is, I mean, the things that I don't know if you're a pet owner. I have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and I sing to my dogs and I sing to my cats, and if they're not feeling well, I mean, we do ridiculous things for our fur babies when they're under the weather. And so yeah. What else do I have to do this week? Oh, I have let me do this. What, wrong one. Hindi based search. What is it? I'm all getting lost here. A couple deadlines. CBRC. Do. So on Monday, I have the deadline to place my cow op order. Here where I live in the Cowichan Valley, and we have this really cool thing. Cow op is basically an online farmer's market. I do a lot of my food photography, and even with my recipe development, I try and source locally produced like locally grown vegetables and other things for my work as much as possible. And Mondays is when my weekly order is due. I mean, eggs, all that stuff that I get. Yes, for babies. 2 black kittens Melodies has, and they sing to them as well. I mean, yeah, you do. I talk a lot to my animals, and I don't understand people who do not have that close tie to their animals, who do not consider them part of their family. I do not know about those people. I do not trust them. I'm just going to say that. So I know. What color do I use for that? Work appointment N52. No, business meetings 75. There we go. This one. I know. Starting at 4. I have fellow photographer is wanting to start getting into commercial food photography. And so here also, if you don't want to hear like the how the hows and the behind the scenes, like how the sausages are made parts of my job, let me know and I can talk about other things. But I mean, there's a lot of things about food photography specifically in general that people like. There's still this prevailing myth that what you see on like the finished image is like fakery, and we use things like lipstick or motor oil or whatever for our food images, which is absolutely not true. I mean, and that's where this meeting is that I have with a fellow photographer that I'm mentoring on Monday. Is they're having trouble finding, because okay, let me back up, rewind here so this makes sense. In North America, the way the laws are, but it's basically, it boils down to the same in North America. We have truth in advertisement laws, is like the colloquial term for them, which basically does not allow for any. I mean, Keurig was just fined for breaking these truth in advertisement laws. You're not allowed to do anything that misleads, that purposely misleads the consumer. So if you're shooting ice cream, the ice cream has to be the actual ice cream that is being sold. People think that McDonald's, because their hamburgers that are in your advertisement looks completely different than what you're served. So people think that they use fake fake burgers or whatever for McDonald's advertisement, when the reality is those images are the exact same ingredients that are used that you will get if you were to go to McDonald's and get their burger. The difference is McDonald's pays thousands of dollars a day for a professional food stylist to pick the perfect pieces of lettuce, the perfect pickles, to spend half an hour meticulously putting on the mustard and the ketchup, and every single diced piece of onion is meticulously prepped. So that's the difference, right? One was quickly slapped together, the other was meticulously styled, every single detail. Like, oh my god. And I don't want to do this. I never want to get to the point of success where I am shooting like a big brand, and a lot of commercial photographers, that is their end goal. There's like, oh, I want to shoot for Kellogg's or McDonald's or whatever. I don't want that, because like to shoot a bowl of um I don't know, let's say snap crackle pop Rice Krispies. To shoot a bowl of Rice Krispies requires somebody, and it's usually an assistant, to go through boxes and boxes and boxes of Rice Krispies to find the perfect kernels that will look spectacular on photography. So that's I mean, there's a lot of work. For every one food image that you see, there's a minimum of 8 hours of labor that goes behind it to make sure that it looks picture perfect. The photographer's job, and I do both stuff. Like, I am like a one trick pony, where I do recipe development, styling, cooking, and shooting, and prop styling as well. That's a completely separate job if needed, or it all depends on the job, who's responsible for what. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Melody. I'm glad to. Sorry, Dead Melodies. I don't know. I'm gonna call you Melody. if you're okay with that, just because your handle is Dead Melodies, and if you have a problem with that, please let me know, and I will refer to you in the way that it is exhausting regarding the Rice Krispies. Yes. So yeah. So anyways, this appointment is basically teaching them about the truth in advertisement laws, exactly what we can and cannot do as photographers, because as the photographer's job, so it's a stylist job to make sure that the food is camera ready and is can be photographed. And it's even tricks like knowing that you undercook a turkey to make it look plump and so that skin doesn't shrivel up and separate. Okay, Melody is cool, awesome, thank you. Um, so the food stylist knows how to cook and prepare food to make it camera ready. The photographer knows how to shoot food to make it look appetizing, and that has to do with camera angle, camera settings, lighting setup. There's a bunch of other technical things that go behind that. And then, depending on the job, sometimes the photographer will do very light edits, and basically the only things we're allowed to do because of truth in advertisement laws is some color correction, and maybe if there's like a crumb or two on the table that the food stylist and the prop stylist forgot to clean up or they missed during the cleaning up portion of the shoot, then those little things can be spot removed because it's not those crumbs that are being sold. But the thing that's being sold cannot be altered in any way that can be determined in a court of law whether or not it is misleading the consumer. So, like little imperfections on the top of an icing, that's a gray period. I know what somebody who I was just training regarding the rules. The client wanted them to remove like little air pockets from the finished product that was being sold, and I just let them know that okay, you can do that, but because in the end it will be the client who gets sued for breaking the truth in advertisement laws, and it's their responsibility that they are advertising truthfully. But as a good photographer, as a good business partner, you would probably just want to let them know that they should put a disclaimer on the product description on their website that the product that the consumer receives will have some slight imperfections in them. Because if they don't disclose that those imperfections were removed for the sake of sale, somebody could actually sue them for misleading practices in advertisement. So, and the only reason why I know these laws is because normally what happens is after you shoot and do some slight color correction to make it your style and your artistic signature, it then goes to an advertisement department or a photo editor or whomever you're working with, and they're the ones who prepare the like do any composite, like do the work that needs to be done to make it print ready or advertisement ready, or to make it to spec for if it's going up in a website, print, social media, whatever. Um, so that is what this is about. Is me and okay, yeah. The only reason why I know this is because before I became a full-time commercial photographer, food photographer, I I have my degrees in psychology and marketing, and I had a full-service marketing agency. And then I started doing a side hustle, um, doing a website that is about gardening and cooking when disabled, and I loved the. I moved from doing other types of commercial photography to doing food photography, and I loved it so much that I'm just like, I don't want to do anything else other than work with food. So that is what I do now, and I've been very, very, very fortunate that I live in an area that is nothing but food production. I mean, farming and food production is huge where I live, and so we have a really strong food culture. So I'm fortunate that I get to work, and then. I mean, I live in Vancouver Island, but I have ad agencies and stuff from the mainland that reach out to me to work with me on the island. That's another thing about the the pandemic is people are now understanding that we can do food product like food shots remotely. The way that things work don't rely on having this big huge studio, even though it's nice to have. So I mean, I've just been lucky. There's more food photography is an underserved industry, and there's not enough photographers for the demand. So anytime that I can teach someone who is interested in becoming a commercial food photographer, whether it's being an assistant, students who are looking for internships, whatever, that's one of my most favorite things that I like to do. So um, yeah, I'm gonna put meeting. Um, and a lot of people don't know that I mean, I love food photography. I could talk about just the business part or the because a lot of people, they also, when they get into food photography, they think they have to know food, or they have to know like how to cook or whatever, because they don't know that the cooking and the styling is a completely separate job than food photography. And if you have to do both, they require different skill sets. Then you charge them, like, they have different pay scales. They have different scopes of work. Um, a lot of people just think that you yeah, it's interesting what people don't know about food photography when it's what you see. I mean, it's the number one. Um, I mean, we bombarded with food photography, like commercial food photography that is used to get you either in someone's restaurant or buy the item off the shelf or whatever. I mean, it's one of the most um, utilized forms of commercial photography, but the one that has the most misconceptions and lack of knowledge about exactly what what the job is and how it works. So yeah, that's a thing that I'm looking forward to on Monday. Um, so let me just figure this out here. Um, I mean, you would think I would have my colors memorized. So yeah, I'm gonna time, and this I'm gonna do all week because it won't Oh no, wait, actually, if I have to load in, I'm just gonna do this until Wednesday. My blocking off my morning prep and continuing ed and prep, because there is the possibility that Thursday morning I have to load in during that period. What time are we at? Oh, this is going by quickly. I've been doing so much gabbing and not enough planning, which is fine. I mean, that's why we're here. Another thing that I was supposed to do, that I was hoping to show you all today, but didn't get a chance to do, I have to backfill it, was I was going to be starting the test run for the, like, the 5-year journal thing, but use just a notebook that was given to me. And I didn't get a chance to do any daily journaling this past week. I mean, I use, so we got like the goals of the day, any deadlines or get tracked at the top. Oh crap, tomorrow's my birthday. And you would think I would remember that, but it's actually, I mean, this is why I have a journal, because I would literally forget that tomorrow is my birthday unless I was looking. If it's not written down, and this isn't, I mean, this is one of the things that is kind of the similarity between people who are autistic and people who have ADHD brains. Sometimes if it's out of sight and out of mind, then it doesn't exist. With them, it's like it's a functional memory thing. With autistic people, the mechanism is a bit different, but the results is the same. And I'm just one of those things where unless I plan it, it doesn't get. I forget about it because I get so hyper focused in whatever task I am doing that unless there is something to signal for me, oh, thank you for the happy birthday. Unless there's something for me to signal that it's time for me to move on and do something else, then I'm not going to move on and do something else. And that is the issue with my birthday tomorrow, is that I'm so focused in what I'm doing today that I don't even, tomorrow does not exist to me yet. And tomorrow will not exist to me until tomorrow happens and I open my journal and I see what it is that I have to do. So yeah, so I block out my time day. I make note in the evening of, like, normally this is time that I would exercise. I have to backfill this, but in the evenings I make note of things that we're watching. Um, if I'm journaling, doing personal journal or whatever. This bottom section here, which is like used for the happy faces, I make notes of like just overall something for the day. Like Thursday, so much snow, so much snow. Um, Wednesday, I finally my book. So cookbook, like nonfiction books, are sold on proposal, and you really don't write anything until the publisher says, "Okay, this is we want your idea, and this is how we want it to look." My cookbook is going to be around 50,000 words, and on Wednesday I broke the 40,000 word mark, which is huge. And then I got some happy mail on the. So I also like write down if I get happy. Yeah, so it's basically how my, like, the one thing I want to take away from the day. I have to backfill these. I have them written down somewhere else. It's just so when I look back, I can see how things were. And then this bottom part, which some people use for meal planning, that's where I track how many spoons I've had throughout the day, so I can gauge whether or not I'm managing my resources well. And then I use this section right here for things that I would like to get accomplished during the week, if wishes were dreams, that are not tied to any specific day or deadline or whatever. It's all if wishes were dreams and I could get everything I wanted to get done during the week, this is what it would be on top of like my to-do lists that are in here. Yay, thank you for the word count celebration. Yay, yes. So yeah, and then the Sundays are personal days. Sundays are the days that are set aside for family, because if I do not set aside time for family and for relationships or whatever, and again, this is my partner has ADHD. I'm autistic. I have one child who is autistic, another one with ADHD. They're adults now, but it's just one of these things that we've all come to learn as we get older. Unless we actually set aside time for the people in our lives that we care for, then it just doesn't happen. So yeah, Sundays is I make sure to put something there, whether it's some washi or whatever, just to remind myself, hey, don't do anything that day. Because you have people in your life that want to spend time with you, so do that. Unless there's an emergency. Once I get closer to my publishing deadline, I have to have the finished 50,000 word manuscript to my publisher March 1st, and 60 images to my publisher April 1st, and there's a couple days in March where I have to shoot on a Sunday, and it cannot be avoided. But we try and keep Sundays as free as much as possible, barring like emergency or whatever. So yeah, let me just now put in my breakfast. And then once I get these things blocked out, write them in later. I'm going to move on and see if I can figure out what it is I'll be shooting and that schedule for. I have a deadline for the end of January, where I have to finalize the finished recipe list for the cookbook and finalize what images I'm going to be shooting for the cookbook. And so I'm hoping that I can, before I can finalize those things, I actually have to kind of picture it and block out how many days what days I'm shooting, what I'm shooting on what days. It's a process. It's a process. Normally, so my cookbook is set to be published in April 2023. Which is normally cookbooks take 3 years from the time that the purchase on proposal to publishing, because there's like shooting, you have to write the thing, it has to go to design, and then there's multiple revisions, and it has to go to print, and then you have to work up time like pre-publicity where you start reaching out to reviewers or whatever, and it's a lot of work. Like shooting the cookbook is going to be 60 days just because of the cooking. You have to cook multiples of every single recipe and then shoot them, because you always have to have like a stand-in or extra in case something happens to the hero, the main thing you're shooting. I mean, it's a process. But in my cookbook, it's as it says about disability and cooking while disabled. The first half of the cookbook is actually the tips and tricks and techniques to how to organize your kitchen so that you don't have to spend $100,000 on a renovation to make it friendly for a variety of disabilities, how to do grocery shopping and meal planning in a way that does not result, I mean, if there is like meal planning, oh, you need to spend a day and chop up all these vegetables and stick them in containers and put them in your fridge. That does not happen when you're disabled. That if you were to do that, you're either then having to spend a week in bed because you have spent all your energy, and then none of that stuff is going to get cooked because you don't have the energy to cook it, or suddenly it's like my stomach is, there's something happening with my health where I cannot eat that thing that was planned. So my cookbook has like, forget that way of meal prepping or meal planning and prepping. I'm going to teach you a different way of doing it that is actually friendly for people who are neurodiverse and who have a variety of either mental health issues or physical health issues that result in executive function impairment and fatigue. Those are the things that are tackled in the cookbook. So and there's a whole section in it about post-traumatic stress and anxiety and how to use cooking and food preparation as a grounding exercise if you are having a moment of anxiety and panic, and things to keep in your house so that if you're having a panic attack or overly anxious, and you need to ground yourself and focus on the fact that you're safe and you're in a calm environment, here's what you do. Pull out the cookbook. And because of the current situation, because we are experiencing a mass disabling event, because we are experiencing a mass trauma, I mean, we're all, once this is over and we're through it and we have time to sit down and think about everything that we've lost, like lives, just our ability to plan, our ability to have any type of stability in our life. There's going to be a lot of mental health issues. We're not prepared for that. So my publisher we're rushing publishing on this. We're doing an accelerated, 3 times accelerated publishing schedule, because people need the book now, and they don't need it 3 years from now. It's a tool that's going to be in the toolbox. And the thing that really... Sorry, I'm going to rant for a minute. While you're all planning, I'm sorry. Because one of the things I put in your proposal, the business proposal, or the book proposal, it basically works like a business plan, and you have to sell your book, and who needs it, and why you're the person to write it, and all that other stuff. So... I put in my proposal, it's too bad that this can't come out during the pandemic, because people are going to need it to be able to survive. I mean, it doesn't matter. We're all having some mental health issues right now. And there's a good portion that deals with tackling that in a way that is respectful and not ableist and not like, hey, you need to overcome this. It's like, oh, wait a minute, this is something that's happening to you. Let's take a moment here to appreciate that this is happening to you, and what can we do to help you cope with what's going on. None of this toxic positivity stuff. So I mean, it's great that it's coming out during the global situation, but I'm also a little bit upset that, because I wrote my proposal in 2020. I mean, I didn't start shopping my book until later, but I wrote it in 2020, and my book's coming out in 2023. And that sentence, I mean, we're still going to be dealing with the ramifications of the pandemic. So that, yes, that's a thing that I mean, it's not that I'm angry, it is that I mean, it's frustrating, it is maddening that is the reality of the situation. I am looking for, I just had it, and oh, here it is. So yeah, oops. I need to doop. Oh, nope. Hold on. What is something happened here. I lost my chat's ability to see it. Weird. What did I do? I guess I'm gonna have to look at here. Okay. Well, I will have to. If I don't respond to you in your chat, it's because it just like disappeared on me. So yeah, I need to. I have my very last trauma therapy on Wednesday, and that's a big deal. That's like, yay. 7 years I've been in trauma therapy to deal with a bunch of things. And I mean, I still have post-traumatic stress. It is still a thing that I live with. However, it is now managed really well. I've been dealing with a lot of things the last little while, and I haven't been paralyzed by anxiety. I haven't normally, like, there's the fight, flight, freeze responses. I am typically a freeze, and I haven't frozen and been overwhelmed with. I still have anxious moments, because who doesn't? But that's the thing. That is one more check-in just to see how things are going. Before I'm like, thank you very much for helping me do some work and giving me skills for my toolbox so that I can work through traumatic triggers. So that's a cool thing. Oh, and this is the right in. I'm just blocking this out for now with colors, and I'm going to fill it in with words later for what I know is happening. This is the wrong color. I've never done that before. Oh yeah, groceries are being delivered on Monday. Grocery delivery. Wednesday. Milk delivery. We get our milk delivered in bottles, which I love, from local dairy farmers. Let's see. Melody says, "I love the approach to my book. It will benefit so many people. I'm looking forward to getting it." Thank you. I'm looking forward to people having it. That is, I hope I'm still streaming. um, yes, I am. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm having issues right now, so I'm just having to keep checking on the stream, and it says I'm streaming, but there's something my chat is not. Chat's not working for some reason. Um, so yeah, Where am I? Yeah, I got lost for a second. Yeah, cows. We have milk gets delivered in bottles, and it's not homogenized, so the cream separates from the milk. It's great for one of the things that you can do in your Instapot, if you have an Instapot, is make paneer, and paneer is a type of soft cheese, and it's very common in South Asian cuisine for South Asians who have a vegetarian diet. And so you need a really good milk fat to be able to make paneer, and the local being able to buy what's it called, milk that's not homogenized, and that already has the fat separated from the rest of it, makes for making paneer that much better. And one of the things that I am shooting next week is paneer, so that's a thing that I'm going to be cooking. You kind of have to let it set and firm up for a day before shooting it, so that's the Friday um, paneer. I'm gonna this is now time to bring out my project planner and kind of work between both books. January, here we are. So this week, if my body cooperates, the things that I'm not going to do this first because it's easier to separate tasks when some of them are on a background of a different color. So, wishes were dreams. This week I am doing some recipe development of tadig. Paneer is for the shoots. I'm gonna let's do tadig in the Instapot. Lemon loaf in a bread machine. I'm going to hopefully do some orange cinnamon loaf in the bread machine. Developing recipes for the bread machine is not as easy as one would think. It's not, you can't just simply take a regular like cake or loaf recipe for an oven and do it in the bread machine, because of volume and temperature and just the way the heat works in one device versus the other. So let's see what else. I have on here refried beans. Refried beans. Let me tell you, if you do not have an Instapot, you need one. And you need to stop soaking your beans in the Instapot, or pre-soaking your beans before you cook things in the Instapot, because you do not need to do that. You just have to. I have in the cookbook a time chart for how long it takes to cook things from like the dried beans. So refried beans, if you do them using conventional cooking methods, is a really, really labor-intensive task. It's impossible. Refried beans are a staple in many cuisines. So I'm developing that. Um, and it's normally it's like a 2-3 hour process after you soak the beans traditionally. And my method, I have it down to I think like 40 minutes. But it's mostly you just stick everything in the Instapot and you cook it, and then you put it in a blender or use an immersion blender or whatever, and there you have your refried beans, and then you freeze them, and you're good to go. I have to finalize my air fryer samosa recipe, and then yes, I'm shooting paneer. So I have a busy um, cooking schedule this coming week. So I think I'm going to put this aside because we have about 20 minutes left here before I use my photography camera, and we have about 20 minutes before the battery in that decides that it's going to nope out. So I'm going to put this away, and let's move on to... I have other things I have to do as well. I have to pull out my paper cutter at some point. So I have this thing where I think I can do it here. I extend pages by putting some, I cut some vellum down to size, and then I tape it on so I can tape things to like add pages on the pages, so that I can still write here and not like, yeah. It just, I need more pages than there is in the book, and it's just a way to keep things manageable. I mean, it makes really good sense when you look at like this photo shoot that I had planned. I had like all of my post-it notes and everything all in one place, all easy to go. So that's what I do, and I have to still cut that because I have more places that I have to plan. I have to get that done. So I gotta figure out now what I'm first. Oh, I'm suddenly all like scattered. Pause. I have it written somewhere. Yes. Okay. I have to bring this back. This went away too quickly. I have to go back to my Gantt charts and see. So it's writing. So I'm shooting. So all these, so yeah, I track what I do. It's also in the bottom of the months here. It lets me know, like, I wrote, oh, I didn't, wait a minute, no, this is this week. I did fill it out. I also did some recipe development on this day. Gotta write that in. That was an admin day. So 14th is a deadline. But I basically track with short code. D is for recipe for development. W is writing. And then I use an S on days that I shot. But, I mean, this is like kind of how people do habit tracking. And then this is typically how, in this one is basically how Gantt charts are used in project management and marketing and, oh, thank you, Melodies. The cool Melody thinks that my fold out for the vellums is a neat way of extending pages. I'm glad you like that. So in the Gantt charts, in my regular one, I use it how it's traditionally used in marketing and engineering and other things, where it's basically tracking out like deadlines and stuff like that. So I know when I'm working on certain things, when things are due, timelines, all that other stuff. But this is my color code for shoot days. I've also like kind of pre-planned if wishes were dreams and my body cooperates. Each of these squares here are the greeny yellowy squares. Each of those are shoot days. So the 27th I will be wrong pen. This one works better in here. 27th is a shoot day. And the way this works, so I pre-plan what I'm shooting, and then on Fridays is I look at what I'm shooting that next week, and then I write out my what food I need to purchase. So because I have to, it's cook in the morning, shoot in the afternoon, whatever it is that I'm shooting. Cook, shoot, cook, shoot. You have to buy the groceries, right? So that's how I have to first plan what I'm shooting, and then I have to do the grocery shopping. The groceries get delivered on Mondays. That's how that works. So today I have to shoot pantry items. Pantry items is basically just a list in the cookbook that is things that if you have these things in your house at all times, then you'll be able to use this cookbook without issue. And just like, yeah, have these things, and you'll never be able to not have a good, delicious, healthy, and I don't mean healthy as in diet culture, but I mean healthy as in fulfilling your macro requirements during the day, um, meal, as long as you do this and use this cookbook. You cannot go wrong. I mean, you don't have to pre-plan. If you are suddenly have a craving for butter chicken, you can have it with 10 minutes of prep, as long as you have these items in your house, is basically how it works. So today I am shooting those pantry items. I also have like some equipment that I recommend that people have in their kitchen to make meal prep easier if you have certain mobility issues or cognitive issues. Um, I'm also going to try and do that this afternoon. Next week I'm shooting Premiere. There's a whole section in my cookbook for homemade spice mixes or masalas. If you are doing Indian cooking and you see the word masala just means a spice mix. So we have garam masala. We have chai masala is like tea, because chai means tea, and chai masala is a tea that has a spice mix in it. So I have to shoot, and yes, I have to shoot the section that has like, it's basically for the cookbook. That's just gonna have all the different spice mixes that are in the cookbook on one page. Another thing that the publisher wants me to do is to have, because we don't need 50 pages of like, here's a loaf of bread or like a dessert loaf or whatever, and here's the recipe. I mean, it doesn't make sense to do it that way when we can have it as, let's see if I can, back here I have images that we're already using. But so, I mean, yeah, this is one of the recipes that's in the cookbook. So here's one of the spice mixes. This is my picture of, it's kind of artsy. I mean, it's lovely. It's of my recipe for garam masala, which is a must-have if you do any type of Punjabi cooking. But I don't need. I think I have 5 different spice mixes. We don't need 5 pages of images of just this one spice when we can have all 5 spices on one page. I mean, this will get its own image because it's beautiful, and scones deserve their own image, but we don't need 50 images of loaves of bread when, I mean, there's this, I have a different version of this image, and one of the types of bread is in the background. I mean, this is hummus, and we don't need like hummus having its own image. So this image will be like collaged in another, and then some images will get their own full page image. So that's basically, these are the ones that are like multiple recipes with one image, and then these are the things that are like the recipes that get, there's recipes that each get their own image. Normally when doing a cookbook, there is normal cookbooks, and this is the great thing about being a photographer as well as a recipe developer. Normal cookbooks, you maybe, if you're lucky, will get 15, because food photography is expensive. You'll get 15 images in a cookbook. my cookbook is going to have something like 50 images, which is a lot. But it's the benefit when I get to shoot my own cookbook, and the publisher is like, yes, let's show off your photography. It's more work, a lot more work. It is not. I've shot other cookbooks, and it's like maybe a week worth of shooting, where this cookbook is literally one all this week, and then basically all of February and all of March is shooting. And that is not typical. It usually does not take 2 months to shoot a cookbook. It normally takes a week to 2 weeks to shoot a cookbook. But my cookbook, I'm the developer or the publisher. There's extra things happening in it that require a little bit more work. So I am just lucky. So now, yeah, I have to figure out what else I'm shooting. Oh, this is a shoot day as well. Or is it the 31st? No, I do not. I gave myself the 31st off, which is probably very, very smart. So now let's go to my list of things that I have to shoot. Oh yeah, so this is the what I was planning to shoot last week, and you can see how a recipe sketch goes. It's part of the pre-planning. I mean, a French rolling pin. If you're not using a French pastry rolling pin, you need to get rid of your janky rolling pin that has like the handles, because with the French rolling pin, it has tapered ends. It uses like the laws of physics to work, and you just have to use the slightest little amount of pressure, and it rolls like beautifully. So anyways, this is a sketch of last week's shoot, so I can of things that if I were to explain it to people, they're not common items in a kitchen, but you need one and they're cheap. So we have the French rolling pin, we have a jar opener that is basically, it has like 3 holes in, or different holes for the different size of lids. An egg slicer, every kitchen needs that. Every kitchen needs a masala daba or 3. And it's basically a masala, because masala means spice, and daba is a container, and it's basically a spice container that's airtight, that has like bunch of little cups in it, and you can fit 7 different spices as one, or 7 different types of spices in there at the same time. I organize mine, like I have one that is used in South Asian cooking, another one with common spices that I use when doing Mediterranean cooking, and then another one when doing Northern European type of cooking. I have scissors. There's a special type of scissors that you need in your shears you need in your kitchen. You need a 3-in-1 spiral peeler. And what else is, an immersion blender with the attachment items. So yeah, anyways, where is it going? We're going to figure out what I am shooting at the end of the month. I have it here. I have it in my, sometimes it would probably be easier if I utilized the table of contents that I made that lets me know where all those things are. Printed images. No. Equipment shopping index. Come on. Shot list. There we go. January 29th. I went right past it. Okay, so. Oh, yeah. Butter chicken. Let's do that. That's actually, so we're going to do butter chicken on the 25th. And I'm also going to shoot, this is a 2-for-1 day, because it's going to be part of a tolly platter. Some and this dal dish. Everyone, oops, I have to spell it properly one day. So that will be the 25th. What else do I know that I'm shooting? Oh, this is an easy day. So tomato coconut soup. I don't know what it is. I used to hate soup growing up because growing up I mean we were poor. We lived below the poverty line. Food security was an issue. And so until I was older and learned how to cook and learned how to feed myself or whatever, a lot of the soups and stuff that we ate were out of cans, which is not it's not abnormal. But I hated soup because of it. So, but then I learned how to make soup, and homemade tomato soup is the bomb, and it is easy. It is so easy. And if you want like cream and tomato soup, but if you make it with coconut milk, canned coconut milk, full fat coconut milk, um, instead of regular cream, it's so good. And then I do a lot of pressure jarring, pressure canning of my food because it stores better than freezing. It's easier when it comes time to eating. You just open up a jar and reheat it, as opposed to having to remember to take something out of the freezer and have it defrost and reheat it. But basically, all you have to do with tomato soup is open up a 398 milliliter. I think it works out to 15 ounces for my American friends watching this. Can of diced tomatoes. Throw it in the Instapot. Dice up a red onion. Throw it in the Instapot. Half a cup of water. And whatever spices you like to use. I like to use garam masala and oh my goodness, my brain just fell right out of my head. It is orange and turmeric. Turmeric and garam masala and ginger garlic masala, which is like garlic paste and ginger paste with some chili in it. Put it on high pressure for 4 minutes, cook it. When it's open, put it on saute, dump in the coconut milk, blend it with your immersion blender, and you're done. 4 minutes, and you have the most amazing chicken soup, or not chicken soup, sorry, tomato soup that is nice and spicy and warm and delicious. And if you do not like South Asian spices that are typically found in South Asian food, then you can put whatever. You can put black pepper, salt, oregano, thyme, basil, whatever the heck you like, whatever, and you have a warm, nice, hearty tomato soup. 4 minutes in your Instapot. It's yeah. So I'm looking forward to cooking that because it's been a while. I've been so busy doing recipe development that I haven't been able to cook things that I like to do a lot. So I'm gonna do that day. I'm gonna do my. I'm just gonna call it aloo chana, which is potato, chickpea, but there's more than that. It's just it's basically a dish that I do that is common in a lot of different Indian cuisines. But again, it's basically potatoes, peas, cauliflower, chickpeas, tomato, and then a bunch of different spices. It's really good. It is like 5 minutes, full meal, has all your macros. It's another one of those things where you just throw everything into your Instapot, you put on the lid, and within 5 minutes, 5 minutes for it to come to pressure, 5 minutes to cook, 10 minutes for it to out of pressure, but it's 5 minutes worth of work. And that's the thing that matters when you're deal with energy issues. It's the prep time and not the cook time. So you just dump all these things in the Instapot, and then a few minutes later, you have something that meets all of your macronutrients and a good part of your daily requirements for vitamin C and for a few other things that are essential. So that's what we focus on in the cookbook, is not calories, even though there is a calorie count, because there are some people with some medical conditions that have to have either high fat, low fat, high calorie, low calorie, whatever. but the focus with the nutritional information that is included in my cookbook is more about meeting macros and some other things like iron, some micro things like iron, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D, and just making it so that you can eat healthy as in nourishing yourself and not as in baloney diet culture, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna shoot that. I'm looking forward to that. What else do I know that I'm shooting? Chicken pakora. Do that on Friday. And this is why I need to figure out what else needs to be shot, because I have everything. I'll be done my first 12 shots and then oh no, that's everything. So that is the rest of I still have one more week of recipe development. I should go back to that. What was that, 29? Let's do it before we end this. I would like to thank everybody who's tuned in today. Today was fun. Let's look at where I am. So there's 50 recipes that I have to put in the cookbook. I have decided on 44 of them. I've already said, yep, this is what for sure I want to include in the final cookbook. And I have a list of 60 that I'm working on. So I still have 6 more dishes that I have to decide whether or not they're going to be included in the cookbook. And the criteria for inclusion is, does it decolonize and does it decolonize food? Does it teach a skill so that people who are disabled, whether it be mental health, whether it be neurodivergence, whether it be physical reasons, just whatever way that you identify as disabled, does it allow me to feed myself in a way that respects my disability and that appreciates it as a doctor would appreciate a broken bone? So is it easier to prepare than it would be via traditional methods? And does it teach a skill that can be applied to other recipes? So it's like the whole teach a person to fish type thing. Does it teach them how to fish so that they can prepare and reclaim, especially for people who, because there is a lot of whitewashing of food. And I have a whole section about colonialism and food and my responsibility as a white person to decolonize food. So yeah, it's in those last 6 recipes. I mean, it's difficult because if they do not teach, if they do not decolonize, if they do not undo some whitewashing of cuisine, and if it's not easier to prepare than the standard preparation method, then it doesn't get included. So that is that. We got a lot done today, despite my Gabby. I mean, I'm actually quite amazed. I did a lot of talking. I got sidetracked quite often. So I think that's it. My battery, I have maybe about 5 minutes before it dies on me. And I have to set up for a shoot now for this afternoon. Hopefully I can get 2 images done. I'm not quite sure. But I would like to thank everybody. Next week, I will not be doing a live stream. I actually am giving an artist talk about my exhibit. And it's via Teams. It's an artist talk. It's the stories behind the images for my Nourish art exhibit. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific, which makes it 10 p.m. GMT. And it's about an hour and a half long. And I may be able to simulcast it to this channel. But there will be no live plan with me next week because I do have the artist talk for my art exhibit. And then I will be back in 2 weeks doing this. I'm also, between now and my next live Plan With Me, I'm hoping to do my December flip through, which will be tying up how things, the last of using my traveler's notebooks for planning, which is bittersweet, but they served me well while I used them. So I want to do a flip through for this, a flip through for December for this. I want to, lots of people are interested in me doing a flip through of, this is out of focus. Hello, I'm here. A flip through of my, journal that was daily for all of December, but now is like whenever when my 5 year, if there's something that is like I need more room than just a couple lines, then this is what this is for. So I'm hoping to get those two. This is one video, this is another video, hoping to get these shot too, so there's something happening between live Plan With Me's. I've been waiting for some Happy Mail for over a month now. I got the December Your Creative Studio box that I'm new to, that I've never gotten before, that I'm hoping will arrive some point. Mail delivery is not happening on the island right now for lots of different reasons, and it's backlogged behind. I ordered some washi samples off of Etsy over a month ago. They were mailed, they were shipped over a month ago. Those still haven't arrived, and they're coming from Toronto, so it's not like it's coming from a completely different country even. It's local. Same with Your Creative Studio. I'm on Vancouver Island. They're based in Vancouver. So I don't know where that is. I know it's been shipped. They updated where they don't know where. The shipping company. It's the same thing that kind of happened with my canvases. They got shipped. They got picked up, and what happened after that is anybody's guess. So I'm hoping to have that happening as well. Those just Happy Mail unboxings happening between now and my next live Plan With Me as well. So hopefully, anyways, I would like everybody. Thank you everybody for tuning in. See you in 2 weeks for those of you who decide to join me live. I'm looking forward to it. Stay safe. Be kind, as Dr. Bonnie Henry would say, would be reminding us, everybody, to be kind, and not just to other people, but be kind to yourselves. Things are tough. We are living in unprecedented times, and so we just need to remember to be just a little bit kinder to ourselves and to each other, and have that patience. So be calm, be kind, be courteous, stay safe, wear your masks, stay home as much as possible. Until I see you next time. Bye.